disconnect bill. Good afternoon, right here on CBSN New York. Let's take you to a news conference being held by the City Sanitation Commissioner, Catherine Garcia, and the Commissioner of the Office of Emergency Management, at least for a little while longer, Joe Esposito, talking about city preparations for the snow and wintry weather headed our way.
That it's not going to be the same mess that we saw back in November.
I'm not going to make promises. What I can tell you is we're better prepared for it, and we're doing more. If for some chance 3 feet of snow drops, I think we'll be in a bit of a trouble. But I think sanitation is ready to handle any event that comes along. Catherine?
Right. I also want to speak to one of the things that I think that we often found with the November 15th event is how we were messaging to the public about whether or not they should be on the roads. I am telling you right now, for the event over the weekend, you should not be on the roads. We are going to have rain, temperatures are going to drop. That could create flash freeze events and a lot of icing. Due to the fact that there's really changes that are going to happen in this forecast from Saturday evening all the way through Sunday night, I think that we want to be messaging to the public. They need to be cautious, and they need to be prepared for the fact that there could be sudden changes both in snow accumulation and ice accretions.
You talked about having equipment pre-positioned throughout the city. Where is that? What is that? And how do we avoid, how does that help, I should say, in another case of a George Washington Bridge situation?
Yeah. Well, again, you talk about DOT. They have some equipment pre-deployed at their bridges. The same thing with the MTA and the Port Authority. Naturally, the airports, highways, tunnels, wherever they ever experience problems where they think they need plowing or spreading first, that's where they'll pre-deploy this equipment to.
So plows and spreaders, that's primarily the
yes.
issue you're talking about.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not snowing anything yet, but what are we thinking about for driving on Friday? Sunday, we want to be off the roads. Friday, and the timing of the storm may be difficult. What's the advice for drivers on Friday morning, Friday throughout the day?
Well, again, this event ends Friday morning. So, again, we have a travel advisory in effect. We're urging people to stay off the roads. If you have to drive, use caution, use extra time, use the main roads. But, again, this temperature on Friday is going to go up to around 40. So I think whatever does fall tonight should dissipate by the afternoon on Friday. But I think tomorrow's AM rush could be a problem, and we ask people to be prepared for it.
Commissioners, could you give us a sense of the flavor of the conversations you've had with Port Authority, how many times you've spoken with them, and how often those conversations continue through the weekend?
Well, all of our agencies, we invite most of them to all of our conference calls, and they participate. They're willing partners. John Billich, who I know from my prior employment in the PD, I talk to him regularly, very receptive. Whenever we need somebody in our situation room, they send people. The same thing with the MTA, all our other city agencies. Con Ed is there. So it's been a good relationship.
And I would follow up that this is not something that is just happening during the event. There have been ongoing conversations since November with all of these stakeholders to make sure that everyone has situational awareness about what our capabilities are and how long we need to stand them up. And all have been taking a very aggressive action from what I see as we go into this weekend.
You know, we haven't really had a real weather event besides that November one. People may have forgotten what they should be doing in the snow in terms of their sidewalks, all that stuff. What's the advice for just people walking around and what they should be treating their sidewalks?
Certainly. So you are required as a property owner to clear your sidewalk within 4 hours of the last flake of snow, or in the morning if that occurs overnight. We encourage people, if we get heavy accumulations, to make sure you understand what your physical fitness is as you clear that snow. But you are required to make sure that that your sidewalks are cleared so that it is safe for pedestrians.
Can you, you said this at the beginning, but can you just repeat the numbers of how many salt spreaders, how many plows are going to be out there?
Certainly. So we will have nearly 700 salt spreaders on tonight as well as through the weekend. That is our full contingent of spreading equipment, and those include small, medium, and very large spreading equipment. And then we will have about 1,000 plows available for tonight. It's questionable whether or not they will be needed, whether or not we will get to something that's plowable depth. And then we will have about 1,600 available starting on Saturday night at 7 p.m. So that would be in addition to the nearly 700 salt spreaders. And if required, we have put on notice the Parks Department, the Department of Environmental Protection, and the Department of Transportation, who also will bring in additional equipment if we start to see this forecast changing to very heavy accumulations.
This afternoon, the mayor said that they're taking what the National Weather Service has said and multiplying it by 4. Is that accurate? Is that the approach
Well,
taken?
particularly with this storm, we are looking to make it. We are planning to be able to plow a foot of snow if we are required to, and that is really driven in part by the very, very steep temperature change and where this rain-snow line sets up. It sets up a little to the north. We have a very different picture if it sets up a little bit to the south. And the European model has had, a foot in Staten Island, then down to 8 inches in Staten Island. So there's a lot of movement because of how close we are to the rain-snow line. So we are prepared to go bigger than a foot of snow if we have to. I hope we don't. But there's just too much moisture in the system with too much uncertainty.
A lot of these storms affect the traffic. Is there anything that's going to go into place if you see escalating?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Traffic conditions?
Yeah, sure. Look, tonight's event, we think, is going to come and go without too much of a problem. Again, tomorrow's rush hour. We're concerned about it. Schools are open. We don't think there's going to be an issue with the schools. But as of right now, we think tomorrow will be fine, with the exception of tomorrow's rush hour. But as far as the weekend, a lot of uncertainty. We've got to see what we're going to do with that right now. But again, tips for the people of the city: stay off the roads as much as possible. Whatever doesn't dry up or get plowed or melted is going to freeze significantly for Monday. As the commissioner said, whatever is out there is going to be ice, complete ice on Monday. We're hitting a real cold spell, a 30-inch change in the temperature. So whatever's out there Monday is going to be treacherous conditions if the forecast holds true. So again, the advice is stay off the roads, use a lot of caution as much as possible.
And I would just add that the Department of Transportation is also monitoring all of their speed sensors across the city of New York, and if they see a real dip or something abnormal, then they will take appropriate action and make sure they are providing that information to the public.
I imagine this is not the case, but does the government shutdown have any impact on snow removal or anything like that, or forecasting? I mean, we do know national weather, but I don't know.
So it has no impact on my ability to stand up a snow response. National Weather Service, I believe, is viewed as a critical employees in the federal government, but you would have to ask them if this impedes any of their forecasting ability.
I mean, speaking frankly, given what we did see in November, do these storms make you guys nervous?
So, I mean, I would say the thing that we're really being challenged with is how varied the forecasts have been in terms of what is forecasted and what we actually end up seeing. I mean, November was the earliest date we have ever seen 6 inches of snowfall in the city of New York. That made it more challenging in terms of the number of trees that came down. I am still chipping trees today from November, and having a full foliage cover, which made them very heavy and like sails. Obviously, it's different for the weekend. We shouldn't see that, but we are keeping our eye on it. And obviously, as Commissioner Esposito said, he's prepared to stand up the down tree task force if that's required. But I think that we are seeing some real variation in our weather that I honestly have never seen the weather go in temperatures, in 6 hours by 30 degrees. I mean, that's a really steep up-down, or have a snow into rain into snow back to back. That's not usual.
What do you think you guys learned?
Sorry guys, can we just close the wood? There you go. That's what we wish was going on right now. But.
I can't hear you.
I couldn't tell that was happening.
What do you guys think you learned from what happened in November, and what are you doing differently now?
Well, we're adding, as we said, we either quadruple or we add. We had indicators. We would do certain things when the snow was going to be at a certain level, the temperature was going to be so cold. We've lowered those indicators now. If you've noticed, the last few forecasts of snow, you've seen us spreading, you've seen us out there. The most visible would be sanitation out there, but other agencies are leaning forward also. We have people in our command center, our watch command, our situation room, monitoring it, closer contact with National Weather Service, making sure that all the agencies are ready to enact their plans if, in fact, the forecast takes a turn and gets worse. So we've done a lot. We've done an after-action report after that incident in November, and all the agencies are leaning forward a little sooner and a little higher. Anything else, folks? All right. Thank you very much.
See you all weekend.
No, but also, if you want. Do you mind?
Is there anyone who speaks Spanish?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we have somebody right here.
Right here.
Awesome. You do it off to the side. Okay.
We good?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna go. I can make it back. 3:45. Yeah, I think I can make it back.
We've been watching a news conference held by